How is it possible for a single focus, which now belongs to one stereotype, to multiply itself and to become infinite? Well, how then the focus of close attention multiplies itself, tentatively speaking? How one focus, which now belongs to my stereotype, multiplies itself and becomes infinite? Stereoform, in its cycles, in its directions, is one focus of creative activity of one stereoform. Every rotation cycle, every development direction of a stereoform contributes its own aspect of creative perception, of life perception in general. And then you move in that, your development direction, which depends on what kind of focus attracts you the most at the moment. Now that it attracts, but structures configurations of stereotypes focused by you. After all, you focus only on that, what you are interested in, only on that, what you are able to focus. For example, perhaps there are stereotypes in your stereoform with the same potential, like you've got. But you can't just refocus there only because you've looked at Oris and decided, I want to be like him. No, there is the alertness principle, meaning the principle of transition from one quality to another. For example, you structure, cycle the space, cycle it again and again. You can cycle here, create your own individual world, and to be somewhere there, on a great qualitative distance from who you are now. This will be possible only when the structure of the stereotypes focused by you possesses a special mechanism of the rise to the general focus of creative activity of the stereoform, which is you. Then you will be able, through the primary time axis, rgluvu, the time field of the given entity, to focus both on one qualitative aspect of the studied, examined by you space, and on another. And you have to have skills for that. Until you manipulate with the lower levels energy plasma, the mechanisms of perception and space organization in general, typical to these levels, are accessible to you. You don't need the rest. There is no need to give you skills to manipulate energy plasma of the other qualitative level, because you have gaps here. And these gaps are interesting to you, because you don't have an experience of self-knowledge exactly in these forms. You want to realize in these gaps. Some other causes may force you, no, I don't want this. But truly, all forms configurations where you focus yourself as the focus have tendency to this realization. That's why I always say, guys, don't overlook lower parts of your configuration. Do your best to synthesize them. While synthesizing, you increase your experience. Figuratively speaking, you dig up your hill. You throw with the spade some bit of the experience, and the hill of your focus has become one graft bigger. Again, you acquire some experience, and again you throw it, and your experience becomes bigger. In this way, throwing the grafts of the experience, you rise on the hip. You rise, and you are able to see, oh, there is one more hip near me. Who is there? Oh, that's Ulrich. No, that's not him. That's Andrei Krasovsky. No, that way is not interesting for me. And who is here? Well, this is more interesting. And this hip starts to meet your hip. Those stereotypes which study life and the surrounding space in one direction, trying to raise their focus of creative activity, they heap up their experience more and more. And here you go. You form the whole mind, big slab hip, from the huge amount of the hips of such ulrks. Only one can be at the top. In this way, all of you are joined at the top of the slag hip. The whole experience of all of you is combined on the common hip of the focus of creative activity. The junction occurs in this way. You live now. Since you realize yourself as alive, then those who leave the worlds of your focusing kind of die, shed their experience to you, who continues to live. Because the experience passes through the upper uvu forms, which are the most qualitative. Hence you stay at the hip, and the rest of stereotypes throw the experience on their hips. These hips meet each other all the time, and you stay on this hip, because you stay alive, aware of being alive permanently. The rest of your stereotypes kind of die for other people who surround your form. Corpses, corpses, corpses. Your hip grows and grows and grows. And there are conditional, so-called subjective corpses of different ulrks around this hip. Those your stereotypes had the lower qualitative thinking, the lower qualitative feeling, the lower qualitative aspirations, and they leave those worlds in the way of corpses, corpses, corpses. In fact, you rise on the top of your creativity along the corpses of those yourselves who was able to manipulate with higher qualitative energy plasma levels to the lower extent. But they haven't died, but stayed in their own worlds. That picture I have described conditionally kind of reflects that experience, which doesn't allow you to make the wrong choices. It doesn't allow. You don't do them until a certain moment. When you start to make these wrong choices, and the critical amount of them will grow up, you will become one of those corpses. But you will be one of those corpses for that nouveau form, which is more qualitative. In this way, all focuses gradually merge to your focus. What's the use of that? To have possibility to observe. I can give a figurative example. First, I set low, and gradually other Orises start to put pillows under me, more and more, and then I can see from here that there is somebody walking on the grass, someone will do something else. But when I sat there, at the low position, I couldn't see anything. All those ulrks and Andrei Krasovskys, who form with you one stereo form, give you possibility to acquire the experience which you possess. They give it to you with their deaths, with their wrong choices. At the subconsciousness level, you don't do some choices they have done, because you have the experience. Now you won't overtake a car in front of you. One of your stereotypes tried to slip through, and they've turned out to be corpses. But they, having finished their life at 30 years, give you possibility at your 30 years and 1 day not to make this choice. As soon as they have done this, you have it in your experience. You are alive and have this, and they have died in this car accident. You are alive only due to the fact that they have had this experience. And they have refocused in me with all their experiences, right? What is the whole experience? It is the most qualitative UVU forms structuring configuration of forms which you focus in. These UVU forms become yours together with the experience. So look, we were talking about space, how it cycles and so on. Each of your stereotypes, which are you in every instant, has cycled the universe on themselves and imagined it in accordance with their own possibilities, with possibilities of configurations of those new forms, those stereotypes groups, where they have been able to focus in. Thus, you have managed to swim out and continue to swim out, staying alive. You swim out of the lesser and lesser qualitative universe levels to the more and more qualitative universe. And finally, when you see that you don't exist in the way of these corpses, or even in the way of some forms aggregate of formatypes of your Luvu, then you'll understand that you are something more than a man is, because all of your existences will become accessible to you, all existences to your Luvu, all forms. All this will exist independently from the fact it was 1,000,000 years before, in regards to us, or it will be 100,000 years after. There will be no difference, because you will be able just to be these forms.